engagement ceremony. I'm very excited about it. Certainly grateful to all the work that Dr. Ellison does, that Dr. Stoltz does, other faculty who mentor all of you. Very proud of you. And it was an exciting event last year, and I'm looking forward to it this year also.
Thank you. Thank you. And I will mention a lot of the things that you've submitted and a lot of the faculty and staff who've been involved. And if I miss anything, just feel free to email me and let me know and I'll add it. But you all have done some amazing work. So that's why we're here today, is to acknowledge you, allow us to understand it a little bit better. We had 93 submissions, so I know there's a lot more out there. I just don't know, but this is a starting point and a chance for us to acknowledge all of you for the great things you do. So there are some tremendous things going on in the Kansas City community. We also opened this up to St. Joseph and to the AAPA program. Unfortunately, I didn't get any other submissions from the other programs, so we'll keep working forward so that we include them. How many of you have done service with another professional out there? Like another nurse, doctor, pharmacist, dental hygienist, you know, that it's not just doctors right there. You're like, we're all out there as a team doing this together. But from what you all reported for those 93 students was over 8,309 hours. And that was by all MD students and one St. Joseph student. So that's all here in Kansas City. There were over 100 agencies served, and I summarize it a little bit later so you can see yours, and then how many others have also contributed outside of things that we're used to sort of at our School of Medicine. So the top 10 agencies, so this was listed at least 3 to 4 times, not in order of top, except for Care Beyond the Boulevard, Sojourner were probably the top 2, followed by the Kangaroo Pantry both here and on main campus, and then the Children's Mercy Community Garden. Harvesters, I think you're all familiar with. The Faithful Response to COVID-19 is Dr. Berkeley Patton's project for testing and in churches for COVID-19. Our Healthy Kansas City East Side ran for a year and is about to get renewed, and that's a lot. So hypertension, diabetic screening, STI screening. I see some nodding, so I think you all know about it. Many different leadership opportunities at UMKC and service to UMKC, which is something I asked about. Charlie's House, which is up the hill. And then the UMKC First Community Health and Wellness Fair, and you can see the pictures going on the monitor. We got those up just recently. In 2021, there were over 20 medical students that signed up for and completed the UMKC School of Medicine Service Wing elective. One of those students is here now, and I see a lot of nodding. I see Hannah, and Liesl just finished. So there are a lot of students who dedicated an entire block to service. And what's nice about that is you can spend time training and getting really engaged in other programs and then really deep dive. And so some things like Operation Breakthrough, they have some volunteer things you can do right away. And then other things that students discovered that they could train for and do on a regular basis during the block and then go back later on in their program. In total, those students gave over 800 hours of service in total, and that's for about 9 blocks going back. There are only 2 or 3 blocks where I didn't have any students, and I had at least 1 to 5 over the last few blocks. So the agencies that were served, hopefully these look familiar to you, and if I've forgotten anything, feel free to let me know. I pulled this all from the surveys that you completed. And some of these are new to me as well that I didn't see in the last few years or that I haven't experienced. And so this gives me a chance to see what students are doing and activities and opportunities that would be helpful for other students, including all professional students. There's a lot of wonderful stuff here. University Health LGBTQ Clinic showed up this year, and Dr. Eulenhake is really involved in that, so it's another faculty who's involved. Some of this you'll see is UMKC interest groups and things that have been going on, such as the Kansas City Marathon that's supported and the Dance-a-thon that's supported. And so you'll see some more UMKC things that come up year after year. Many great opportunities. And then at St. Joseph, the service that they have established, the students on fundamentals there have been doing service in years 1 and 2. And those get approved by the docent there, Dr. Carter and myself. And so I've got a small directory for them, but the particular student who did the elective, our first St. Joseph elective, these were the experiences that she established in really wonderful ways, and they'll be offered to our younger year 1 and 2 students there as well. Service to UMKC, it kind of made it between lists. I think I forgot to erase some of the UMKC stuff, but Service to our councils is not small. Service to our interest groups is not small. There, you'll see that there's some local and international service that's occurring as UMKC representatives. And so I asked students about that. And so we get to see all this great stuff that students are doing across our campus and beyond in representing the UMKC School of Medicine. There's a panel for first-year study skills that Dr. McCarthy helped guide as well. And so there's a lot of faculty involvement in this area too. Here's some of the faculty and staff who were noted in the submissions, and so I know it's not comprehensive or complete, and in any way I could, I tried to link the service project itself to the people involved. So No Divide KC panel with Dr. Doug Burgess, Dr. Trenton Myers, a graduate, has Roots for Recovery group, and that's all come up in the last couple of years. Dr. Allie Scholes is here with her Care Beyond the Boulevard, Dr. Yolan Hake. Dr. Bobby Riss has a project, and he's one of our new associate deans, so he's heavily engaged with students in doing service. And then some things that happen on council and curriculum. So Megan Frasher, Dr. Gardner, and then you'll see Dr. Sarah Gardner was also involved in our community health fair. So all of us are linked together and in different ways that we can really provide service to Kansas City along with you. So just a couple of highlights. The Children's Mercy Hospital Community Garden is actually a health science district garden, but Children's Mercy provides the most support in terms of staff. We have the largest volunteer group, which is medical students. We have a few pharmacy students that occasionally volunteer, and then they have different departments as well. This garden has grown over the last 5 years, and after 3 years, you can partner with the Giving Grove. So this year we planted 17 fruit trees. And so those will be coming, and Hannah probably remembers me saying, I can't wait till we get the fruit trees. So a lot of the students on the service elective also provide gardening, and then this is a newer project. We go to Canby's with Dr. Plensner, who's right there. And so now the garden food goes from this block and the next one to 64 families. It gets packaged and delivered. And we combine it with produce that we get from Canby's. And so what's really neat is that you can really expand your reach in these ways. That produce also goes to our UMKC School of Medicine pantry. Sean looks familiar because he's on the service learning block with Seth. And then Rudula and Evelyn were on 2 blocks ago. And so we stock the different refrigerator and freezer, which you should see on your social media group. So hopefully that's familiar to you. And then the UMKC Community Health and Wellness Fair, this is the first year we've done this. It was a year-long planning project led by Jada. She did a tremendous job, and all of these students were heavily engaged in planning from PR to advertising to getting the word out in the community. Here's Dr. Kramer. I think that's me, I'm not sure, maybe I was taking the picture. And so tremendous efforts by so many students from all years in our curriculum, and it's interprofessional. This is Cassandra. She's a pharmacy student with one of her cohorts. They did the painting table, and she came over and painted her. We had really great teaching. I remember a couple of the students at the STI table were like, is this going to freak people out? And I was like, well, it's honest. Let's just tell them the truth. And they were very popular. We've really engaged Charlie's House, which is up the hill. It's a simulation house for safety for new mothers and parents, new family members who have young children in the home, and they donate a lot of things like gun locks, as well as things to put locks on your doors and your toilet and things like that.
Can I say a word about Charlie's House?
Yes,
that
please.
students may not know?
Please do.
It's a safety demonstration house. There are only 2 in the world. The other one is outside of the United States. So the only safety demonstration house in the United States is Charlie's House, just up the hill from ours. And because childhood injuries are the most common cause of death for children, it's an important opportunity for everyone in the community to learn more. And every time you think you know everything about child safety, something new comes on, and they stay, current. And I think it's a fabulous local option for students to become leaders in leading tours for young family members. And so it's really a terrific option in our community.
Yes. And I'm a little nervous. I sent a previous version, and I didn't get Dr. School's pictures in this one. So thank you for talking. Is anyone else able to share any experience with that? Because I know a lot of our students who engage in service learning on that block also contributed to Charlie's House. Anybody here? No? We do have one student that serves on the board. Rachel Wright actually served on the board. And she sends out frequent reminders. They offer a babysitting class every Saturday, a Saturday every 3 months. And instead of our UMKC babysitters taking it, they get taught how to teach it and lead it. And so how important that I think that must be to others in the community that they're being taught by medical students. And so who's anyone on the UMKC babysitting Facebook group? No? Dang, I've had trouble with my inbox today with Outlook for some reason. So I think I didn't get your pictures. But I will try.
The other safety demonstration house, I just wanted to double check, Australia, in case anybody wants to have a field trip there to compare.
Which one is it?
The other safety demonstration house in the world is in Australia. And so we
Yeah, definitely come back. I don't know that I could fund you on that, but I could sponsor you if we could find someone. Yeah. I didn't mean to back all the way out. Have you at least heard of Charlie's House? Because we've had a relationship with them for about 3 or 4 years. No, okay. And then how many of you have been involved in the garden? Good. Raise your hand high. Little dirt under your nails. Okay, well, unfortunately, I don't have the most current one. I'm a little bit worried about it, but I think everything else should be accurate. Okay. So we talked about the garden and Canby's as well as Charlie's House. There's the pantry, the community fair. Dr. Kramer was wonderful at getting pictures. This is actually probably a better picture of the group, and we did catch everyone right at the end. But there were over 30 participants, and we got 24 of them to complete the survey, and it was very highly regarded. And so we've got a plan to make sure it gets out in the community a little bit more for the next year. And what's nice about this is a one-year event, as we collaborate it with each other, it gives us a chance to engage faculty very deeply. So Dr. Sarah Gardner was there. I just don't see her picture, but she was giving free physical exams and then handed off to Dr. Jay Robertson. And I think they gave out at least 34 free pre-participation physicals, which is not small. And my pediatrician, I asked, and she charges $75 for self-pay. So that's a big and important service that they were able to provide at the health department and engaged the community in the health department to see all of the other services that they provide. Okay, so Caribbean on the Boulevard, I wanted to give Dr. Scholes a chance to talk about this. She did help me get the picture sent because in the ED, the Wi-Fi wouldn't let me do anything. But she has a tremendous group of people that serve in this way. So, and I see one more.
We do free physicals
Yeah.
for sports. We do free.
Yep. Well, they were free at the health
I
department.
think,
Yeah.
I don't know who was there, Sydney, were you there a couple? I know George was. We did 53 patients the other day. So we have a Saturday clinic that's run by medical students every Saturday out of the back of the Independence Boulevard Christian Church. They let us use their gym for our storeroom and some of their offices for our clinic. It's free. We have a full pharmacy, no controlled substances. But other than that, a full pharmacy, 2 refrigerators full of insulin. So we take care of even insured patients that don't have coverage for their medications. We set it up as a junior student, senior student situation. So the junior students do a lot of the triage, early interviewing, check out to the senior students who then make sure that they go back and ask certain things, and then we make a plan together. We have some regulars as patients. We have a couple that's been coming every day for the last 2 years. And Nathan Gassel, I know he's stuck in the room next door, so he can't be here, but he's been doing wound care on this man's leg who had a brown recluse bite and got a terrible infection and a necrotic area like this big on his leg. And all of the students who work there know that family because they're so kind. And they came to Match Day, and they came to White Coat this year. And mostly the wife of the patient has adopted Nathan, so we went to their house when there was a big snowstorm because they couldn't get out of their driveway. We went there and did wound care. Do a lot of pre-participation sports physicals for kids in that neighborhood. What else am I missing? A lot of diabetes, a lot of hypertension,
Some
a
depression.
lot of psych.
We have labs now.
We have labs now. We have 2 UMKC undergrads who've been going through all of this training to get CLIA certification for our laboratory, which has happened now. And so now we can do UAs, CBCs, CMPs, A1Cs. I feel like there's one more thing that I cannot remember what it is. Well, obviously COVID tests. Here's some of my pictures.
Yes. So, do you mind telling the Nathan Gassel story? I think it's the first picture you sent me.
That
Didn't that wife attend White
she,
Coat?
yeah, she came to White Coat.
That's
And
really cool.
yeah, and I actually have pictures from later on that day because it was really hot at White Coat and the patient wanted to come, but he's 81 and
Aw.
walks with a cane. And so they ended up coming to my house afterwards for the celebration. But since all the students in the pictures were wearing their swimsuits, it seemed like a weird picture to put up here, so I didn't
Yeah.
send that one to you.
I didn't see that one either.
Let's see, this was the last day, Michael Brancato is the one who helped me start the clinic. And that was his last day before he left for residency. There you can see Elaine and Nathan.
He's an intramural champion, so he does a lot at UNC.
Yeah.
Awesome. Here's the logo, but I think you guys have the shirts with the logo.
Yes,
Repping.
I think they're wearing their shirts. We have a volunteer who used to be homeless and was one of our patients and now volunteers with us every weekend. And whenever he doesn't wanna cuss, he says boom, boom, boom. And he says it like 100 times a day. And so for his birthday, we all got shirts that say boom, boom, boom for his birthday party.
Was he there for that when you gave him away?
Oh, yeah, he was like, whoa, that's like a curse word. Curse word, but the young man on the far right is Xavier. He's one of the lab guys. He's a senior this year, majoring, I think, in chemistry at UMKC.
And then we've got a banner.
Yeah, we've got a banner. We used to put the banner outside, but then somebody had to sort of watch it, so now we don't do that anymore. People know about us now.
Good.
When we first started, we would sit there twiddling our thumbs, wondering why nobody was coming, but that's not a problem anymore.
Good.
I do wanna say too, that, cause Rohan's here and Dylan's on trauma is not here, but Rohan and Dylan came to me with this ridiculous idea one day that they were going to have a car show to benefit the thing, and I was like, do people even go to those? I don't know anything about cars.
I tried, but I was out of town.
I still drive a
Even
Honda,
Nicholas.
so,
Yeah.
and they planned this event. How many cars did we have, Rohan?
Over 300 cars.
Oh my gosh.
There was a car worth of over $1 million there.
A few cars.
Yeah. And it was crazy. Car people are crazy.
I'm
And they
gonna call it amazing entrepreneurship.
and they had voting. They had a juried car show part of it. And it was really amazing. And we raised over $13,000. They raised over $13,000. I literally did nothing but said, sure, if you think that'll work, I think we should do it.
Awesome.
So we're doing, hopefully doing it again this
Yeah.
year.
Yeah.
Well, we're gonna hopefully make it even bigger and better next year, so.
Was Jordan Held involved? He's a big car fan.
No,
Okay.
no.
Yeah.
Are you
He's
gonna
a year
use the
six.
same location?
So actually, in talking with our car people, we might actually potentially consider expanding to a little bit of a bigger location, just because the location that we were at, it was fine for our event this year, but we had some concerns about space a little bit. And so I think a bigger space might be better. But we're also planning a couple other service-oriented events. I know I talked a little bit with you about the Christmas for Children's Mercy car event as well that we're trying to work on. So.
We have an old converted school bus that was in the car show. It
Oh,
didn't
yeah.
happen. But we have a route that goes out to homeless encampments or bridges. Rebecca does work on the green bus every week. going out into those spaces.
Great.
So I'm trying to think if I'm missing anything. We'd love to have anybody who wants to volunteer.
David Brancato's the contact.
David's the contact, and we are certified as an organization in the Presidential Service Award. And so this year we had, I think, 5 students that got awards from President Biden for their service. And it's a cumulative thing, so the longer you work, the higher awards you get from the president.
It's great. It's great. And agencies, as I understand, it's easier to get it rather than like a large organization like a university. So, yeah, because you're connected with Care Beyond the Boulevard all the time.
Right, yeah, you have to, the agencies that do that have to certify every single one of the hours that's done. And so if you wanna get it from your hours combined from several different agencies, then the one agency that's certified has to make sure that you actually did the hours at those other places, so it's kind of hard to get it that way.
Right, it'd be tough for me to verify.
This year we'll have a whole bunch of people who will qualify,
That's great.
I'm sure.
That's great.
These 3 will for sure.
This is the bus picture with all the promo shoot.
That's great. Well, thank you for sharing, because I know there's a lot that I've heard about and that's going on. And I think this is a great opportunity to share these experiences with each other. Thank you for all that you do, Allie. Dr. Scholes.
And I will say, the one thing that my students never talk about that they do that's really important is mentoring of the high school and college students who are interested in medicine. We have a lot of high school and college volunteers who really want to be doctors, but they don't really know what we do. And the students are such great representatives of the university that, like, we have one kid who wants to go to medical school but only wants to go to UMKC. Like, he's not applying anywhere else, which makes me very anxious. But he's had such a good experience with the students. And then we have a student in the first year class, Kimia, who volunteered with us all last year when she was in high school.
That's great. And it's harder to get into hospitals to do that for even just regular volunteering. There's a few more barriers. You're all nodding. And so that's a neat opportunity, especially since you're able to be a faculty sponsor and make sure all the care is on the level. So that's awesome. Thank you. We have a UMKC Walk with a Doc program. We actually were able to spearhead this through our Healthy Kansas City Eastside grant. And we hosted a walk with Calvary Baptist Church as well as with Beneld Hall and the VA, and we're going to support another fall walk. We have partnered with the AARP, and so that's us down here. We go every 3rd Saturday at 9 o'clock to walk at the Southeast Community Center near Swope Park. And then they're opening up a wellness center, and that's what will sponsor the 3rd weekend or Saturday in September. I do have someone as part of the grant, so we're going to be able to make it more widely known to everyone to invite students to attend. Erin, as the president of the UMKC Wellness Committee, has been really great at getting this off the ground. And so you can see her here. She's talking, this is Calvary Baptist Church and Reverend Eric, who has been very helpful. They opened their own wellness center. And so what we find is this is a great way to link us to communities where they have wellness centers and to just allow them to consider walking and the health benefits. There's an international curriculum that comes with it, and they're hosting their next international walk in Japan. So, yes. So we're hoping to get us up and running. We did have to go inside our first walk. It was like 91 degrees at 9 o'clock in the morning. And so I was like, sorry, masks. And it was one of those days I was so glad I did, because my own family caught it, and I didn't have to call a bunch of retired persons and say hi. So we all wore masks that day. And then here's Mira Bhatia. She is also a co-director of that walk group, and this is a legacy program. Her brother Devin Bhatia started the first Walk with the Doc with Dr. Betty Dries. And so we're able to rekindle this whole thing and get going again. And the AARP has been so much fun to work with. And as I tell them, I say, well, I'm an emergency physician, but I'm off duty right now. So we're going to just be super careful. And we walk through the consent, and then we all work together. Well, now time for the student awards. I know some people couldn't be here, and some might be coming in around 5:45. So when we started this program, we created our own internal awards. And so what you get for that, if you are to get champion, navigator, or steward, is I will send you a statement for your CV. And what we have found in the last few years as our students leave for residency interviews is a lot of the program directors want to know how you're doing, what you're doing, and what is this thing that you did. It is hard for me to create the presidential award because I can't certify all of the events and the hours that you're doing. However, we do sanction them within the School of Medicine to have them approved as meeting our definition of service learning, and we work to make sure you have time off. And so in fundamentals of medicine, you took time off and then presented back to your docent, and we're working on embedding that in later years in the curriculum. And so it's our responsibility to make time, but give you quality experiences. It's been a little rocky. Sometimes I send you to Ronald McDonald House and they have to cancel, but we've got a really nice set of things that you've helped me learn about in the community by engaging. So I want to make sure and honor you with these awards. So this is honorable mention. These are students who filled out the survey. So I have information and I understand, and they're making a great start. Just like Dr. School said, with the presidential award, it's a marathon and it's not a sprint. It's what you accumulate. So these are students who've really made a great start at service, but haven't quite reached that 50-hour threshold. So are any of these students here? Emma Smout, Rohit Rajput, Emily He, yay, good job. Ira Ali, and if I mispronounce it, please correct me, because I will get it right in 6 years. Well, hopefully before that. Rishab Gar, Tejas Saravanan, Saravanan, try a little harder. Nadine Elkadi, oh no, Robert Zhang's not here, he's one of my docent students. And Pooja Shet, she's here? She's not here, okay. And then these are the students who made the steward. And so this is 50 to 74 hours of community engagement. And mind you, this is in 1 year. We don't quite have the opportunity to make it cumulative, but we'll get there. And so this is from August 1st to the end of August 29th. I made the first award ceremony much wider because there's so much community service to COVID. You guys were awesome. But these are our stewards. So Anna Rubenov, actually, if you're here and you've received the Steward Award, stand up and state your name proudly. Yay! This is Shravani. Yay! So tell us your name so we get to know each other.
Oh, I'm Anne.
Yay.
Hello, my name is Sarah Jane.
Yes.
And then I'm Shravani.
One more Christina Alton.
Thank you. Good job. And actually, last year, our recipient of the most hours was doing service during the ceremony. So that's how tremendous it is. These are our navigators. These are students that accomplished 75 to 99 hours from August 1st to August 29th. And so stand up if you're here. Ashley's on her way. And I think Connor told me he wasn't going to be able to. So yay for them. This is live stream. I just can't see the screen, so maybe they're at home. All excited. And then these are our community engagement champions who received equal to or over 100 hours, and the list is long. There's a lot of pages of students. So I know Erin's here because she walked in. So stand up, Erin. David couldn't make it.
Next door.
Yeah,
So is Nathan.
so is Nathan. So they'll make it on their way. This is not in order of how many hours. This is the order it was submitted by date. And so these are the students that just were really great at turning it in. Evelyn, I know had to go. Noah told me he couldn't make it. Is Sydney Cobb, Victoria, stand up if you're here. Hi. Hi. You're Victoria? Yes. Elaine. Good, stay standing. Marishna Kandapali, Bianca, oh yay. Parth Patel, Esther Varghese, I thought I saw her. Brianna Shores, it's taken me 2 years to say that name right. Patricia, I didn't see her. Francesca's not here. Avery's not here. Sean, yes. And St. George is here. Amir is not here. And Stephen is here. Keep standing because there's more slides. If you are here and on this list, stand and tell me your name. Dylan's not here, is he?
Dylan North on trauma surgery.
Okay, Liesel, and then Shreya, and Rohan. Remind me.
And Rebecca.
Rebecca, awesome. Am I missing anyone else who stood up? Oh, Hannah Esker. I know Ryan and Hannah Sufian aren't here. And Alex is a St. Joseph student who has done amazingly well with this and really kind of taken it as her thing. And she's done a wonderful job. Anyone else I've missed? All right. Don't worry, there's more slides. Oh, did I miss anyone who submitted over 100? You guys already stood up. Okay. So go ahead and have a seat. Yay! So thank you for all that you've done, and I will send for these awards a statement for your CV. And so, as I said last year, a student gave me feedback that they got to discuss it on an interview, and there was a lot of interest because the world has changed a little bit, and so there's a lot of interest in terms of interviewing and the things that they could share that they did. So special awards, we have our most service awards of all time, and then runners up, because there's so much tremendous effort. I want to make sure everyone's acknowledged. And then we have most service hours to UMKC proper, and we'll talk about that. And then this year I made a special award for those over 200, because 100's a lot, 200 is amazing, and we should acknowledge those people as part of the 200 Hours Club. So the most community engagement hours goes to Liesl Larson with 377.5 hours. Can someone take a picture for her?
I got it.
Okay.
Sorry.
Thanks, Erin.
That is a lot.
You want to come up, Dean Jackson, or?
No,
Okay.
you guys are good. I see Lisa all the time. I want to see just the two of you.
Let me get more
Awesome.
Congratulations.
And the runner-up, because amazing, is Erin Galakatos, who will have to give her phone to someone else to take a picture at 258 hours. And there were so many great numbers up there. I'm glad to make it 200 club, but 258 is outstanding.
Just make sure I get copies of the photos.
You bet. I send them to you by text. Is that okay, or would you rather have them?
You know.
Are you okay with that?
Just for a second.
Thank you. So then our next award is, sorry, I can't be trusted with this. It's just frozen a little bit. Okay, so these are most service hours to UMKC, and we had this as part of last year, and it was amazing how much students do, not just for our program, but for Service Day on UMKC campus. We've had our own Service Day here. In planning things like Lunch on the Lawn, a lot of students are engaged in that, and helping our interprofessional education events, and so I wanted to make sure that we honored that as well, because that's not small, and you should get an award. So most service hours to UMKC are Erin Galakatos. So this is in relation to her role on the UMKC Wellness Committee, which stayed very active when students went home for COVID. And then she stayed very active with Walk with the Doc. She serves on council and curriculum. I'll just take a picture.
It's the same.
Yeah.
Well, okay.
Yeah.
It's just a little.
Should we do something new? Great job. Okay, so that is for most, and then we have a tie for runner-up, because again, so many students are doing such great things for UMKC. Runner-up is Shreya Majagi, and did she make it? Okay, I'll tell her. Maybe we'll just take a picture of it and I'll send it to her. And that's at 100, and then also Victoria Sigalet, wait, can you tell me how to say your name? Sigielsi. Okay. So come on up. Victoria Sigielsi.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. Congratulations. Are you hugging? Great work. Whoa. Blowing the secret. Okay. Now some of these are the students I'm stalling for. So Erin got 150 hours, so that also, but she had up to 258. So that qualifies her for the over 200 club. So let's do this. So the Over 200 Club is the new award for this year. And Nathan Bassel is one of the students who, Gassel, sorry, my typo. I'm so compulsive, I have to change it. It should be right on the award. I think it is, okay. Also, David Brancato, is he next door?
He's next door, during genetics.
No, there's a patient in there. I can't do that. Rohan, Dr. Barty. So come on up.
He's wearing his Cars Beyond the Boulevard shirt
Nice.
for the event.
I love all the branding. This is cool.
Sure, yeah,
2022, you have to do a 2023.
exactly.
Great job.
And I grabbed Jones too.
Okay, thank you for that. How'd you know? Maybe you saw it. And Erin, because she got over 200. Wait, passed it on. Just put yours together.
It's all right.
Let's get it out.
Substitute certificate. And then Dylan, as he mentioned, you'll grab his. Accepting on behalf of. And Liesel Larson, of course.
Congratulations. Like the portrait now. Thank you.
Thank you, congratulations. Okay, so again, in conclusion, thank you for all of your hard work. Not any single hour goes unnoticed, and so this is our chance to get together and talk about it. So if you think about 8,903 hours, just the 93 students that were able to fill out the form. In the future, it will be on your semi-annual interview, and I'll talk to all of your docents about how important this is. And so you can regularly complete this along with your research and your professionalism leadership stuff. So you'll just be building your CV the entire time. And so I update my CV about every 2 months, and so that'll get you into that habit of building that CV, and you'll be so grateful on September 1st when Eris opens. And so we're gonna work forward to make sure that we're advising you and that we acknowledge all that you're doing as we go forward. Any other suggestions on ways to do this and figure out the hours? No. I give a spreadsheet sometimes to students on the service learning elective, like keep filling this out. But I think when it comes to the semi-annual interview and you talk to your docent, it'll just be a regular habit where you put those hours down and then create your research and you just plop that right over to your CV. And so we've been working with Student Affairs and the Office of CQI to do that as well.
David created a spreadsheet for us and that the students have access to log in every time they.
It's a Google form.
Cool. And it is, sometimes you end up doing service so often that if you wait 6 months, it's like, oh, I have to go back through a lot of my calendar. And so, yeah.
Do you really update your CV every 2 months?
Well, it's usually something like this. Well, except that.
I update mine every month.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh.
Yeah. Because that many presentations go by, or the publications are my
Publications.
favorite, because it's a moment to celebrate it. And, yeah. Well, I hope to be as busy and as good as you at every month. That's great. Well, again, thank you for all that you do, and we'll have more projects coming up, and I think this list and the service to Kansas City and the health of St. Joseph will just get better.
Thanks, Dr. Ellison. I will tell you that for Dr. Scholes, I wanted to recognize her in some way. And so I reached out to her with a fairly short timeline. And
I do everything last minute anyway.
and when I reached out to Dr. Brancato, who's an emergency medicine resident, to say, would you be able to do this in this time frame? Within 30 minutes, he sent me the most beautiful letter that outlined her attributes as a servant leader, the role you play in mentorship to others, just your enthusiasm for and reaching out to communities that are underserved. It was actually very, very impressive that a resident had the time to,
Thank
Put
God he
this
wasn't on
together.
night shift.
maybe it was, we never will know. It was a lovely letter
journaling that all
and,
along and just copied it.
I'll share the letter with you at some point.
Okay.
Oh, do. It's so helpful, because then you get to see it from a more personal standpoint. Oh, that's wonderful.
I've been mentoring him since he was 17. So it seems kind of hard to believe, but.
And David too, I'm guessing.
Yeah,
Tried to
well,
follow.
David came a year later, he went to Marquette first for a year and then came here.
Okay. Good. I might just stalk him and wait outside that lecture. I'm like, hi.
What you do in community service is so important, but be prepared when you're interviewed to say how it's going to make you a better surgeon or pediatrician or critical care doc, cardiologist, radiologist. Make sure it weaves into your narrative, because that's what's gonna be important. And I
It's,
think you can do it pretty easily.
and it makes the mentors better doctors too, I can
You
tell
bet.
you.
For sure.
We have we do an educational rounds at the end of every clinic. And this past week, we did so many school physicals that we talked about adolescent medicine. And we went through kind of common problems in adolescent medicine, and I was like, oh, okay, we're done. And George was like, we are not done. I mentioned nothing about psych. I don't know why that went out of my brain. But George took over, talked about suicidality in teenagers and depression and anxiety in teenagers, and really like made it a much better teaching situation. And my bad that I didn't think of that, but it made for great discussion too,
Oh,
so.
for sure. And I love how the junior-senior partnership, maybe not the one they have in docent, is reflected in the way that you teach around patient care, that you're pulling in high schoolers and those that have an interest in that thirst for learning. And so it turns you into natural teachers as students and prepares you for that role of being a senior student and a resident. It's great.
Yeah, the third year students just had to do their first something mock interview. And many of them mentioned it on Saturday. They were like, this is the first meeting, and they all have been doing. I mean, David and Nathan have probably done hundreds of interviews, I think. So, good. It's one thing to not be stressed about. You don't have to worry about that grade.
For sure.
Thank you, guys.
Well, thank you, everyone.
You wanna hijack the
Yes.
I've done them for a long
So
time.
you technically can gap the one that says.
We can get a picture.
I think that's why she has two.
We should get a interview with Walmart.
Here's one to mail your parents and put on their wall. How about that?
Are you gonna come and try to hijack this?
Yes, you help me.
Doing that too?
Except I did mess up.
Oh, okay.
We'll just, I did, I'll fix it. Well, but, I'll fix it. Typo.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, and Tanya was so helpful and great, but
Come on down.
Just scribble it.
It's like make a big G like a grower or something. Yeah. Sorry about.
Are you a one and two? Or are you
We have our own.
Oh, you should be perfect. You know, it's very, there's like strict guidelines about that, they all have to do it. I find it's fun to do it.
I'm just kind of waiting out for the weather. If not, we'll just go. Thank you guys. It's all that you do. I was looking at the numbers. I'm like, oh my gosh. This is great. Yeah.